Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance? Gentlemen, please remove your caps. I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion for, to not read the entire warrant? Thank you. Moving right along. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the selectmen's recommended operating budget in the town in the amount of $2,770,387. Recommended by the selectmen 3-0.
I know I'm not working on a budget, but we just lost one thing that's been tradition in this town for longer than you and I.
We're not going to stand.
We're not going to say?
Thank you.
What's up with that?
Thank you.
No, it's a good thing. I don't agree with that, sir.
Thank you.
It's tradition in the town of Jackson.
Could we take a vote on that, sir?
Any ruling by the moderator can be overruled by body.
So I would like to make a motion that we vote on whether we sing God Bless America, as we always have since I've been coming since '68, and we've always sang it. And I'm requesting to
We
take
have a second.
I'd second it.
We have a motion to sing that one word. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I guess we're going to sing.
Thank you.
Moderators don't get overruled often, but it just happens. Okay, Article 3, I'll read it again. To see if the town will
Can't hear you.
Jerry, microphone.
To see if the town, can you hear me now?
Yes.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the selectmen's recommended operating budget to the town in the amount of $2,770,387. Need a motion? Can we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I'll speak it. I don't think this is the appropriate time to speak.
You want to make a motion on it?
No, I don't want you to raise your hand.
Sorry. We good then? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. By the way, I didn't mention it yet. I hope you all have a copy of this. It's a wonderful document. It's put together in a very nice way.
Microphone up.
Oh, sorry. This is a wonderful document put together in a beautiful way. Has all the information you'll need. I hope that you have a copy. We'll follow through tonight and later on read it. Thank you.
Cheryl Pizarro. Cheryl, your lights are on.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
When you make a motion and a second, please state your name so that Karen can record it. Article 4, appropriation to the capital reserve funds in the amount of $338,500. $80,000 to the fire department truck capital reserve fund. Balance currently is $576,88. $95,000 to the road reconstruction capital reserve fund. Current balance is $67,139. $50,000 to the highway truck capital reserve fund. Current balance is $62,939. $50,000 to the Bartlett Jackson Ambulance Capital Reserve Fund. Current balance is $24,159. $30,000 to the Heavy Equipment Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund. Current balance is $30,622. $15,500 to the Police Cruiser Capital Reserve Fund. Current balance is $39,590. $3,000 to the revaluation of town property. Current balance is $50,768. And $15,500 to the Solar Energy Capital Reserve Fund. Current balance is $40,742. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article 4 passes. Appropriation to the Expendable Trust Fund in the amount of $63,750. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $63,750 to be placed in the following expenditures and trust funds previously established. $5,000 to the transfer station. Current balance is $42,000. My glasses on. Current balance is $42,992. $5,000 to the State Aid Reconstruction Expendable Fund. Current balance is $36,759. $15,000 to the Bridge Repair Expendable Trust Fund. Current balance is $402,083. $3,000 to the Police Department Equipment Expendables Trust Fund. Current balance is $5,622. $20,000 to the Fire Department Equipment Expendables Trust Fund. Current balance is $10,036. $10,000 to the Maloon Road Groundwater Expendable Trust Fund. Current balance is $6,322. And $5,750 to the Town Office Equipment Expendable Trust Fund. Current balance is $2,204. Recommended by the Selectmen 3-0. All in favor?
I believe you need a motion, don't you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard it first.
So moved.
Second, Dennis Kelly.
Okay. All in favor of the article?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 6, Fire Department Maintenance Expendable Trust Fund. To see if the town will vote to establish a Fire Department Maintenance Expendable Trust Fund per RSA 31:19-A for the maintenance, repairs, and refurbishment and/or renovation of the fire station, and to raise and appropriate $50,000 to put in the fund. With this amount to come from the general taxation, further to name the selectmen as the agents to expend from said fund. Recommended by the Selectmen 3-0. Have a motion? Second.
Names, please.
Second.
Names, please. Do we have the names of,
Who made the motion?
it's
Roll.
Barbara Terrio, second.
Thank you.
All second. Any discussion? Peter?
Thank you. Peter Benson. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just want to be clear, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, not the fire department. This $50,000 is really just, I don't even know where to begin in terms of what the needs and wants are, but if you bear with me, I'll get to it. When I read the selecting report, it was heavily about the fire department, about the fire station, and about the new truck. Just for everybody's information, the request to study the new fire station was a request by the selectmen to the fire department and a group of volunteers. It didn't come from the fire department. And I would also say that the new truck that is being purchased has little to do with the station, except that it lives in the station. Acquiring a new truck is anywhere from a 7 to a 9 year process between raising the money, voting to expend the money, ordering the vehicle. It's not like it happens overnight. It's not like we spend $700,000. We just raised another $80,000 for the expendable trust fund. And it's just curious, the statement of support that you fund you support the firefighters but not the fire station is not really the question. It's not about supporting the firefighters. We feel supported even though the building that we are in is not up to code, unsafe, unsprinkled, non-ADA compliant, and doesn't meet any current life safety or health codes. Thanks to Jay, Henry, the fire chief, mostly, we've jury-rigged it, altered it, broken down some more walls, fixed this, fixed that. It's really a question coming up of protecting the investment that we have. And we will have with the new truck somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 to $5 million of equipment in a building that is essentially derelict, with no sprinklers, no way to fix anything. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not true. With, as I said, with no life safety codes. We heard from the people that they want to do something with the fire station. So my question is, we can throw $50,000 at it, we can throw $250,000 at it, you can throw $500,000 at it. The real question is, what are we going to do long term? Are we going to do anything with the station? $50,000 a year is going to just put another Band-Aid on a Band-Aid. We have leaky roof, we have this, we have that. It just keeps going and going. So my question to the selectmen is, what is the plan? Is there a plan? Can we come up with a plan to at least address this going down the road? And if the plan is nothing, that's fine. At least we'll know. But I think we're just kind of throwing money at a bad building.
Can you repeat yourself with the respect and response?
So you're cutting me off.
Yes. Unless you have the new, you have
We've got so much to talk about. Thank you.
You know, we want to have a plan. We know that we have to do something there, okay? And I've talked to Jay, our chief, many times, and he gave me sort of an outline of some of the things we could do if we're not going to rebuild. You know, and work with the building that we have, new siding in the back, putting in a sprinkler system to protect all of our investment there, electrical upgrades where needed, a new roof, refurbished dressing area. These, we don't know what they're going to cost, you know? I know that Jay's maybe a little bit doubtful that these things can be done because the building is so old. That may or may not be. I'm not sure if we really know that yet. But I think we can manage to get that fire department to the place that we need it to be without building a new fire station. That's my opinion right now. But we'll get more input from people in our town, more from Jay, more from the firefighters. But we support, as Peter said, and I know it's a separate, I mean, we support our firemen and all the people and all the volunteers and the work that they do. But right now, I think we just have to keep on looking at how are we going to approach our next move on the fire department, whether it's going to be refurbishing or scrapping the thing and rebuilding. We just don't know. So it's coming down the road, folks. We're going to do something, and it's going to cost us some money to do it, obviously. But we want to be safe.
Do you have anything else to add here?
No.
I'd like to add to the comment though before, just as another selectman, in my opinion, I've been on the fire station facilities committee, and Peter, I totally agree with everything you said, and I think that Frank, entitled to his opinion, described putting lipstick on a pig and putting money into a building that is derelict, as you said. The $50,000 is an attempt to not put money into a budget that if we don't spend it, it's gone. We're spending $50,000 at least on repairs and things that'll happen all year. But by putting it into an expendable trust fund, at least we know that that money will be earmarked. We weren't ready to put another warrant article out for a new fire station this year because when we tried to do it last year, it was not the right timing either. So you know how I feel about the fact that we need a new fire station, not just for the protection of our large cost investments, but for the safety of the firefighters that, yes, we do support. So the $50,000, it's an earmark, it's a step in some direction, but in my opinion, if we don't have another warrant article in a year with a better plan for the fire station, it's time. So that's my opinion, and we obviously have two different opinions, but thank you for coming with.
Anything else, Peter?
I've been told I've done.
I didn't know if you had a comment based on this one.
It's not a debate, I just make my comment, thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes,
please.
We got a couple of hands up here, before you keep going.
go ahead. State your name.
Kurt Haberbosch. Can you explain, Selectman, please explain a little more about how the infrastructure study is going to tie into this? I understood that was the facility study, had a lot to do with understanding where the next priorities were going to be, because we're talking about large expenditures, obviously, with multiple places within the town that need improvement, we know that, and they've asked for money for different works, different buildings, so forth. So can you explain how quite, because this, that's, as you said already, valid points, and we all agree, valid points, but that's a big bill. So to understand how it fits in the rest of the bill, I understood that the study was going to take care of that.
The facilities committee did the survey, which I think everyone probably has heard some comment about that, and the results of the survey are available on the town website as well. What the survey was meant to do wasn't decide whether or not we needed a new fire station, but it was geared towards the condition of all of the town buildings. And so we're doing more investigation on the condition of the Gray's Inn Garage, which came up very frequently. We had what we're calling our low-hanging fruit items, the things that we can take care of right away. Better parking and availability on the town properties that we own. Access to senior services. Affordable housing was a huge issue, but that's not something that was in the scope of the facilities committee and the study that we were going to do. There was definitely interest in the fire station and the school and building and improving those infrastructures. Again, so yes, that was a proven fact again, that the school needs improvements and the fire station needs a vast overhaul. So those will continue to be discussions. It wasn't meant, the facilities committee was not meant to come back and say, oh, everybody voted, we're gonna bring that $7 million warrant article back again this year. So it's a time factor of when we're ready to present to the town what we need. $7 million was sticker shock for 100% of the people that were on that committee 2 years ago. So we're not ready to put something out there again, but we definitely know that we have to keep the momentum going on both the fire station and the school. So I hope that answers your question. Politically, did I do it politically correct?
Oh, no, you did a wonderful job. I think to me then the next step would be strategic planning for the entire town.
So we are going to talk about this a little bit down the road, and we've talked about it in the selectmen's meetings, is a capital improvement plan that the planning board is going to be putting together over the next year. They will be looking at all of the town assets, whether it be new fire trucks, police cruisers, everything that's involved there, and deciding what needs to be done and what time factor and what dollars may be allocated or requested for those infrastructure improvements.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, I want to thank you for running that facilities study. It was well done.
Thank you. We had a great committee, thank you.
Bob Jantok, is there any potential for federal or state grant assistance on a project like this?
I'm so sorry, I can't understand you.
Is there potential for federal or state grant assistance for a project like building a new fire station? Or is it entirely, let me finish, or is it entirely on us to raise all the money? I'm not saying that I'm looking for the state and federal government to pick up the entire tab, but I'd like to think there might be potential for a partnership on a project of this magnitude.
Anything that we have looked into, and Jay and Emily have both looked into a few different options, has been, Jackson does not qualify because of our median level of income, but it doesn't mean to say that we're ever going to stop looking for funds. Mm-hmm. One of the things we talked about on the facilities committee also is that take this building, for example, the library, the historical society. There are many buildings in town that have been generously either donated or subsidized by residents of the town of Jackson. And we're also putting the word out there for that. Like if it's something that someone wants to help support, building a new fire station or improving our wonderful grammar school or any of the structures in the town, please come to the select board or to Jay or to Jen or anything. We have an amazingly philanthropic town with lots of volunteers and a lot of people that are very generous. So that's where we're hoping to also help relieve the taxpayers. Thank you.
Willis Kelly, and I too am going to speak as a fifth-generation Jackson resident, not as a fire member for fire and EMS over 50 years. To qualify something, to some of the people that may not know this, the feasibility study that Selectman Campbell's talking about was this last year. We had an ad hoc committee that the selectmen helped with 3 years ago. We spent a lot of time. When we then went with the selectmen appointed a formal feasibility study committee of 7 to 8 people. There was $25,000 raised here for that study, and there was not a question asked about that $25,000. We spent a lot of time for 2 years before last year. And Selectman Campbell has been a very good supporter, as she said on the committees, and I think if you ask her personally, she won't put herself on the line, but I think she's very favorable of doing something. Last year, one of our other selectmen, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, but is not here tonight, publicly said to me he would never stop putting something on the warrant to get this done. When the committee brought the recommendation after almost 3 years of total study that it was not really feasible or smart to put a renovation remodel addition to the current building. It's almost 80 years old. It's had 5 renovation remodels, fixes, what have you, for a new station. And the 5.9, which is what we were talking then, not 7, was very expensive. We knew it. But the selectman that publicly told me he would never stop bringing it to the people. You, the people, are the ones that decide budgets. The taxpayers. And he voted no, we're not bringing it to the town. I think some of us assumed even if we brought it as a warrant article last year, it probably wouldn't go, but it would get discussion. The problem we have, and for this last year, we've not had any real discussion. There's been no discussion until budget time. And we brought it up and talked about it. The fire chief had a list of repairs that are very badly needed in that building just to keep it going, including a leaking roof. I'm going to ask him quite a few hundreds of thousands of dollars that building needs as repairs. And it's still an 80-year-old building. The problem comes in, something's got to get done, and how long do we put it off? If we go by a study and we keep looking at budgets and we keep looking at money, from going on with the economy and the inflation that we've had, every year you put this off, it's going to probably be an additional increase to the cost over what a bond article would be to borrow money to at least put a big renovation addition on. And if we can't talk about it now, this is the problem. We didn't get a chance. The people need to know this. The people need to say, where are our tax dollars go? What's the best interest? That's out of all the departments in town, fire and police are your most important things. Fire department guys go out 24/7, 365 days a year, 2 in the morning, what have you. We don't have safe environment to work in. We don't have room to work in. The building is really, really important. There's nothing we can do tonight or right now because it has to be warned and what have you. But I wanted everybody to understand. And I'd like to see where we stand are the select, and we only have 2 right now, but is there something going to come forward next year, whether it goes through or not, in their opinions? And I don't know whether they'll answer that, but I'd like to ask that question. And my other last comment is, this is the only place that we can't have a chance to talk about this, and maybe we talked about, had the repair budget been in the operating budget, which we went through without a question or an opportunity for a question, that might have been the appropriate time. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, well, I just want to answer Billy to say that, I'm on the board this year. Barbara is also, we're going to have. I'll be here, Barbara will be here, and then Bob Thompson will be here. We're definitely going to discuss this. I've talked to Billy about this and Jay, and we're not going to just let this drop. We gotta find out what we need to do. I think it's important. Can you hear me right now?
Just hold it.
Close to your mouth.
That was the radio business. But again, as I say, talking with Jay, he said there's a number of things we could do, a sprinkler system. I think he gave me a price tag of it, $85,000. That would immediately protect our vehicles in there. That's one of the ideas. And I'm not so sure that it's lipstick on a pig, okay? I don't really know. But I do know that when it was sticker shock when they came last year, and everybody said 5.7 million, 5.9 million. It was just too far for John. It certainly was for me. All right, and we didn't really know much about all of it, and we do know that a couple of key people on the committee really didn't want to spend that kind of money either. Okay, so maybe as we move forward and we flesh this out a little bit, and we get a better idea, maybe come back with a better price. But you're right, we can bonding is something we can do. There's deadlines every year, but I assure you, folks, we have to do something with our fire department. All right, we've added a bay in the past. Other work has been done. They did a little build out to fit our new fire engine that's coming that is a little bit longer than the building allows for. So we're not just sitting on our hands, but know that something we may have a difference of opinion about whether it should be brand new or, again, just doing some of these things and it will work out for us. So let's just see what happens. Thank you, Billy, because, and Peter, we're not going to drop this, Jay. We're going to work on this. That's my feeling. I think Barbara's too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, back to Article 6. We're raising $50,000 in an expendable trust fund, and the selectmen are the agents to expend trust fund. In favor of?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 6 carries. Article 7, Social Services. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $23,782 to support the following. Children's Unlimited, $4,000. Conway Area Humane Society, $2,000. Eastern Slope Airport, $500. Jackson Chamber of Commerce Beautification Project, $1,000. Jackson Chamber of Commerce Fireworks, $3,000. MWV Supports Recovery, $1,500. Northern Human Services, $716. Starting Point, $4,247. The Gibson Center, $3,000. Tri-County Community Action, $2,303. White Mountain Community Health, $1,506. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 3-0. Any discussion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 7 carries. Article 8, to re-adopt optional veterans tax credit. Shall the town re-adopt optional veterans tax credit in accordance with RSA 72:28, specifically RSA 728, Roman numeral 2, for an annual tax credit on residential property, $500. Recommended by the selectmen, 3-0. On a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Close.
Any discussion?
What's the difference, Jen's already, sorry, what's the difference between Article 8 and Article 9?
We have to pass Article 8 to get to Article 8, to get back to where we're allowed to put $500, because otherwise we'll go back.
Can you use microphone, please?
Thanks, Jason.
Sure. So these are two different statutory schemes with the optional veterans tax credit and the all veterans tax credit covering different categories of veterans. The optional tax credit, you have to fit within certain levels of categories of wars or conflicts or service, whereas the all veterans tax credit, it can be any veteran service member, and so they coexist in statute in New Hampshire, and they can coexist and do coexist in a number of towns. Having them both is kind of like wearing the belt and suspenders, I guess, to make sure that the coverage is there for the veterans who benefit from these types of coverage. So maybe a long-winded answer, but just different categories of veterans per statute.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other discussion?
why we're re-adopting it. Don't we always have it? Didn't we always have it? Was there an expiration date?
The statute changed, and per the statute, the numbers changed, and if you don't re-adopt it per statute, you go to the default number, which is like 50 instead of 500.
Okay.
Ken?
Sarah Clemens, I have a question. If I am a veteran, I own a business which is underneath my home, my house. Am I excluded from getting that if I'm an LLC to protect my business and my home? Is that a category where I would be out the veterans' monies? Because I'm a veteran, but I own my building, I have my business in my building, and my residence is above my business. Am I excluded from getting that $500 benefit?
So I'm going to try to look that up in the statute, the 72. I would think not, but it would be a mistake for me to tell you that I think not, and that'd be the answer you take to the bank.
So am I to understand then that at a later time I should go to my selectmen and you will give them the answer to that question? And
I'm looking it up right now. If I can get it for you this evening, I will.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All in favor of Article 6, say aye. All opposed?
We're all paying attention.
Article 7. Article 6.
9.
We're on Article 8. Thank you. Article 9, re-adopt all veterans tax credit. Shall the town re-adopt all veterans tax credit in accordance with RSA 72:B for an annual tax credit of $500 on residential property, which shall equal the same amount as the standard optional veterans tax credit previously voted on by the town under RSA 72:28, recommended by the selectmen 3-0. Any discussion?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article 9 passes. Article 10, Carroll County Communications District. Shall the town of Jackson accept the provisions of RSA 53G:1, RSA 53G-11, providing for the establishment of communications district together with the municipalities Albany, Bartlett, Brookfield, Chatham, Conway, Eaton, Effingham, Freedom, Hales Location, Hearts Location, Madison, Moultonborough, Ossipee, Tamworth, and Tuftonborough, in accordance with the provisions of the proposed agreement filed with the Selectmen, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0. Have a motion?
So
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 10 passes. Article 11, to act upon any other business which may legally come before this meeting. Motion?
Motion.
Seconded?
I'd like to be recognized.
I'd like to be
Do we have a motion second?
Second.
Thank you. Bill?
Use the microphone.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, if anybody, hello, we here? Okay, all right. If anyone read the planning board meeting minutes that came out today, you'll note that we had an issue. We started getting ready to do our capital improvements program that the select board
authorized us to do, and began reading the authorization process, which is RSA 674.5. And in that, it says the select board can authorize us to have a capital improvements program. The town meeting must do it. So, in order to do that, the only local legislative body is the town meeting, and they're the only ones who can authorize the planning board to prepare and amend a recommended program of municipal capital improvement projects. And they're usually projected over a period of at least 6 years. And some of the things we'll talk about will be the fire station. We'll also talk some about the school and other things. Right now, one of the things that last time was done in 2009. And the whole idea of a capital improvements program is to address major projects currently being undertaken or future projects, and whether those are done with federal, state, county, or town resources, or any public funds. And the sole purpose will really be to aid the selectmen in doing their annual budget. Now, last time this was done in 2009, and our good secretary of our planning board identified that the last time it was done, it wasn't authorized by anybody. It just got done. And it's like, okay, let's not do it that way. So here, my reason for being here is that as chair of the planning board, I'm just asking for a vote to approve the planning board to conduct a capital improvements program. And it's recommended by the select board 3-0.
Correct. Thanks, I was gonna. It's, he read it verbatim from the RSA, so.
So we're going to vote on the RSA.
Correct.
I need a motion.
Yes, we need a motion.
I'll move.
We need a motion and a second.
I would make a second, and to qualify that, just to be legal.
I'll open it up.
Doesn't allow any money
I'll open up for
raised
discussion.
on this,
There is
Yeah,
no money
there is no
associated
money.
with it. Yes, sir.
Correct.
people want to understand
Yeah.
that. Thank you. guys.
So motion by Bill, seconded by Willis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That part of the motion carries.
Thank you.
And I recognize,
Sarah,
oh, Sarah, yes.
do you have something more to add to it?
No, I was gonna,
Okay, I don't think I need the microphone, but if you can't hear me, I will either go up front. My name is Sarah Clemens. I've been a resident of Jackson since I was 18 years old. This is the first time I've ever gone to a a town meeting and had the operating budget just whizzed over with no going line by line, discussing anything. And I'm very disappointed in the new process. But at any rate, I just want to make it clear that Jackson is a municipality, and because it's a municipality and it has tax dollars being spent, all of us in this room have a right to know how our money is being spent. And after attending the budget hearings and getting figures, last year in 2021, we adjusted our employees' pay to a market adjustment. That's what it was called in our town report. And so I'm going to use an example, and being a small town, everything is looked at differently, but I'm just going to use this as an example. So if my wage was $57,730 in 2021, my wage went up to $67,730 with a 14% raise. In retirement in a municipality, the employer has to pay 14.06%. That is $9,482 that is paid by the town for this employee. Insurance. The town of Jackson only has their employees pay 5% when the average around the Mount Washington Valley is 20%. That's in our school system and other town residents. And so that, with the insurance being 5% deducted from the amount we pay, say I want a family plan, that's $25,495. So my total wage and benefit package is $102,707. Now also, something that I'm requesting from the select board is to put our Town of Jackson policy book online, and also to have a paper copy at the town library. And in that policy book, you will learn that paid sick time, vacation, or personal time, 1 to 3 years, you get 5 weeks, 4 to 7, 6 weeks, 8 to 13, 7 weeks, 20 years, 8 weeks. Also, I would like to include holidays. We now have 11 federal holidays which are paid for. Plus, the town of Jackson gives our employees the day after Thanksgiving, and we also give the day before Christmas and the day after Christmas. So in reality, there's a total of 14 paid working days. So that's another 2 weeks on top of the other. Also, I would like to mention that we are now giving our employees, after market adjustment wages last year, we are going to use the COLA 8.7%. Now, in years past, our people have gotten 4 to 3% every year, others times maybe a little more. And this year we decided to go with COLA, and I would just like to state that in the Inflation Reduction Act, our government decided to give our military men 4.6% raise, and yet we are doing 8.7%. And I'd also like to mention this is the first year that they've gone by the COLA, because it's 8.7%, when in 2017 it was 0.3%, and our people were getting a 3% raise. Also in 2021 it was a 1.3%, and we gave a 3% raise. Another thing I would like to mention, in the past we have been giving reimbursements to people in our employ who choose not to take our insurance, saying that it's cheaper, and they show us the thousands of dollars we are saving. I would also like to say that in the Mount Washington Valley and SAU 9, that has been capped. It is no longer $30,000, $40,000 that you pay for a couple of personnel that don't take the insurance. And Conway, it's $1,250, and a deduction of $100 from their dental. As I said, I'm requesting from the selectmen that they put a copy of policy for the town of Jackson, which gives us all the information that we do for our employees, which I'm not objective to it, but I just think that transparency has got to become more evident in our process. And also, I requested at the budget hearings, which I attended in 2018 and 2019, in our town warrant, it gave our employees' name, it gave their wage, and it gave their statutory benefits. And since 2020, 2021, and this year, they've taken that out. To me, that's not being transparent. Understanding fully, if it was a private business, it's a different entity. But this is a municipality, and it's being paid by tax dollars. So again, I was, like I say, the operating budget, it's the first time that I've attended a meeting where you haven't at least said page X, and we'll, go through these. Not reading them page or everything by it, but just totally to wipe it out, just in a matter of a second, so people didn't even know what they were voting on. We didn't really, I don't feel, had a chance to say, I think we could knock down, if I had the figures here, from an 8.7% pay raise to maybe a 4.6% like our military is getting. I don't feel I got that opportunity. But and it's not anything personal. It's just that I think that the government has gotten so lack of transparency that I just feel I had to speak up at this meeting. Thank you.
So
Sarah mentioned the military, what was the increase you said? 4.7?
4.6% raise, military.
As it happens this year, the governor's budget in the state of New Hampshire, there was a 10%
Use
increase.
the microphone, please.
The governor's budget this year just proposed it for a 10% increase for all state employees for this year and 2% next year. And it's the most in 50 years. And his reasoning was, we have to try and keep our skilled labor and our people. There's a competition for labor out there that's wicked right now. And the governor realized that, and we did too. Now, last year when we gave these increases, we tried to get everybody a wage that was commensurate with other towns and getting the right place. And then all of a sudden, 8.7% increase, it just eroded their earnings. So we decided to make that up. Just like for millions of other people in Social Security and other workers, and again, the governor's budget speaks for itself. You know, our people, the people who work for us, they're the ones that do all of this. They work hard, they work smart, and I'm glad they work for us. Skilled labor is hard to come by. An 8.7% increase in wages brings our employees to a fair place, joining millions of others. And the other thing I'd like to include in this is that our volunteers also, 28 alone in the fire department, are also benefiting from this increase. So I think it was the right thing to do. And we'll look at each year as we go along.
Did you want to speak to something else?
Sarah still has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Again, I'm going to, find it here. I went and you compared the wages for this market increase, and I went to the town office, and I received a group of papers that, you know, 20, right here. I went to, because I wanted to ask about your increase, and this is what I got. It's like 40 pages or 30 pages of towns. Dover or Somersworth with a population of 11,800, 6,000 population for Hopkinton. I got this, and I understand there are certain rules that you can't ask somebody to make a new, it's not profile, but it's, I can't think of the terminology, you know, a new something or other. But, I mean, would it have been too much to ask if there were 10 towns that you guys decided on, that I might get those 10 towns that, instead of trying to go through all this paperwork to try to figure out, you know, which towns did you take this increase from, this, as you call it, the,
Equity adjustment.
I'm sorry?
Equity adjustment.
Right, well, you didn't call it that in the book, you called it something else, I'm sorry. A market adjustment. So I guess what I'm saying is transparency would be so much easier if, and I come to you and I just say transparency is very, very important. And I just don't feel that it's easy to come by, because if you, maybe the lawyer could help me out, or maybe Julie could help me out and tell me what I'm trying to say. If you don't have a folder, or you don't have it in your file, or you don't have it, they don't have to give me that information. So
I think what you're referring to is additional information that we would have to calculate on your behalf. Sarah, I think if we gave you 10 towns, you would ask for 50, and we gave you 50, and now you want 10. So we will be happy to give you what you're asking for. Let me just talk for a minute. And also, we have 2 budget hearings where all of the people that are here today and all the people that aren't here today that are taxpayers, please come to the budget hearings. They are so important to talk about every line item, every increase, every proposed warrant, every warrant that we don't even have on the budget hearing yet. Please come to those meetings. If you can't attend the meetings, come to the selectman's office afterwards, request a meeting with us, talk to us, find out what we're proposing. Tonight is a wonderful formality, and it's a great way to get people to recognize everything in one beautiful package. But I would really love to have better participation when we're going over these budgets, line by line, item by item, when we talk about the fire station and the expendable trust fund. That's huge, that's a huge discussion. Please attend these meetings. I would almost rather see you all there than here tonight, because that's when we get into the meat of these. And we can have some really good discussions and present something that's been discussed versus having a yay or nay and a, oh my God, we just approved $2 million and no one sneezed. It's huge. So that's my 2 cents, or 2 million cents.
My name is Karen Burton, and I just want to share, I have a family member who is in the military, and according to the rules, based on when they retired this current year, they were able to receive a percentage of the increase, and the residual will be paid to them on January 1st, and that will be a total of 8.7% for military. Also on that same statement, if you were active military, as of December 31st, you are entitled to 8.7% increase according to the military, and that's from a family member who is in the military.
Point of clarity, please. Kurt Haberbosch again. You're right, Karen. Those numbers are for retirees. Active duty, I believe you were saying 14.6?
No, 4. When I went online.
It's 4.6, that's correct,
I
okay.
asked, and it's out of the Inflation Reduction Act, and it said that the military were getting raises of 4.6%.
Thank you, 4.6, that's correct, so that's that part. Also, real quick, while I'm standing, again, thank you to, this budget was put together very well. I thought it was very clear. I thought the paperwork here was easy to follow, and so I was really impressed with that. And I think that went a long way to making sure that it went through very quickly tonight. That's my impression. So again, thank you. And to your point about
administrators for that.
My only question again, if I may reiterate, maybe get an answer from our president board of selectmen, if they will think about putting the employee town of Jackson, policy for the town of Jackson, which is the employee handbook, so to speak, and it gives you all this information that I dug for. If they would consider putting that on the Jackson website and a paper copy at the library, and also where there were no non-applicable, I believe is what it meant when it said NA for reimbursements this year, that to my way of thinking, this is a perfect year to go in and figure out, because I have no idea what the policy is. Maybe you could explain that tonight while you have a group here. What the policy is for figuring out what reimbursement is, or if it can just be one figure.
Sarah, I don't have that information tonight, but if you come in the office, I would be happy to go over the reimbursements with you, and when I can talk to you with Julie and answer you properly.
But do you think that in the future, rather than, because it's personal, I guess, or, we are not, you go into private session for this to make the figure amount, that what I'm asking for, instead of doing it on an individual basis, that we just have it cut and dry and say, okay, you can get $2,000 or you can get $4,000 for your insurance, because that's what, you compare to get our wages. So I'm saying to you, why can't we compare the value that they're doing for that? But thank you for your time, and I do appreciate all of our crews. I greatly appreciate the fire department, the road crew, all of the town, all of them. And you talked about spending the amount of money and how quickly it went. I don't know if any of you live in the Jackson Water Precinct, but I just want you to know I enjoyed spending all your money because I was the only one that attended.
All right, yeah. So I have one more announcement, and John Allen couldn't make it tonight. He is working full-time ×2 now, and he has served on our select board for the past 12 years. And I actually, while cleaning out my dad's files about a year ago, found a copy of an announcement where he had an open house to introduce John to the community when he was going to initially run for selectman. So John, if you all have ever been to meetings, you know that John always wears a ball cap. He takes it off for the Pledge of Allegiance and immediately puts it back on after ruffling his hair. So we thought a new ball cap would be in order, so it says retired from politics, because he did not run again, and I hope he has it worn out within the next few weeks. And then we got him a golf trophy that just has his name and the years that he served as a selectman, because if you also know John, you know he's a huge golfer. And we got him some yellow golf balls because they're always easier to find when you hit them off the
They have his
so-
name on it.
And they do have his name. So on behalf of the select board, I want to also thank him for, I've been on the board now for 4 years, and he has been a great teacher and educator of so many of our kids and to me as well. So I really want to, hopefully, when you run into him, you can thank him for his service as well. And then on top of that, I want to welcome Bob Thompson back to the select board.
And I'd like a motion to close the meeting. Thank you.
No, I just want to say quickly, I can't say names, but I thank you very much tremendously. It shocked me to see a recognition in the warrant, so, and thank you to the people for allowing me to do that.
The results from the election, does Jeff talk about that?
So I said I would answer it if I found it, and I think I found the answer, so I do want to do that even though it takes a couple extra minutes here. So RSA 7230 is a proration statute. So if you own your building with your business, so you have an LLC and the LLC owns any part of the business, then per statute, you are granted a tax credit in proportion to his or her, I'm just quoting now, his or her interest therein with other persons so entitled. I believe if the LLC owns it, they probably would be defined as a person for the purpose of this statute. So you may not get 100% of it if you own your residence with another person or your LLC. So that's what I think the answer is. More of that might require actual legal research into cases, and I can't give you any more this evening.
What I'm saying to you, I own the business, I own the building, I live in the building, it's just me, it's nobody else. Would I still get my total benefit of $500?
If you own the building in your name, yes. If you own it in your LLC's name, that's a complication.
That's the complication, okay, thank you. But it could still be a percentage.
I'll give you the results of the election the other night. For selectman, Bob Thompson was unopposed. He got 107 votes. He's your next selectman. Town clerk, Karen Burton, 123 votes, was unopposed. She's the winner. Trustee, Linda Terry, 117 votes, unopposed. Treasurer, Kathleen Doherty, 116 votes. She's the treasurer. Trustee of the trust fund, Dan Andrews, 121 votes. He's the trustee of the trust fund. Trustee of the cemetery, Barbara Terrio, 119 votes. She's the winner. For school board, Mahika Bernhardt, 101 votes, the winner. There was no write-ins. There was a write-in. That person has discussed the accepting the position. He's in the process of deciding, I guess. School board, Jen Anazzoli, 106 votes for 1 year. The other ones, the treasurer, the moderator, and the clerk, the school board will appoint. The warrant article for the solar was 100. No, this is that's right, solar. 111 votes yes, 10 votes no. The article carries. And if any of those people are here that won the office, we can swear you in this evening. I have a motion to close the meeting.
Second, Sarah Clemens.
The meeting is closed. Thank you.